Hey Hodies, welcome to my channel. My name is hautemesstom, and thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you are new here, hello, welcome. My channel is mostly about loving my makeup collection as it currently is, but I occasionally do bring some new things into my collection. I'm budgeting this year. I have a bit of a mishmash of a video to throw at you today. I had intended on doing a Halloween look. My weekend just ended up being a weekend that I wasn't expecting it to be, so I don't have the energy for that to put on that much makeup. But I did throw on a little bit of makeup, but I couldn't even be fussed to put contacts in today. I'm gonna review some things that I bought recently, like quick reviews, quick bite reviews, and then I have a couple of things that are gonna be leaving my collection that I want to just talk about. Hopefully you're along for the ride. So if loving your makeup is the kind of content that you're looking for, I would love to have you subscribe. Make sure you like this video, and I'm also on patreon.com if you would like to support me there. Patrons, you should have a new video up as well. The first thing I'd like to talk about is the Dior Quint in the colorway new look. I have had this for, I don't really quite remember. I remember buying it with a gift card. So I think it was early in September. I decided to buy this because Amanda Z had it on in a video. And I was like, oh wow, that's so pretty. And I bought it. Because I am kind of in this place where I'm I want to be a one and done girly. I want to be the kind of person who just throws on an eyeshadow and is that's what it is. Now, I am becoming that, but I didn't like this because, well, it kind of is, to me, 5 one and done eyeshadows in one, as opposed to a palette that I can put looks together with. What happens is with the shades in here, everything just ends up looking muddy. So if I were to put these 3 shades on my lid, they kind of just, there's no distinction between the 3 of them. So then when you're trying to structure, these are all just kind of mid-tone. This looks like it's gonna be much deeper, but it all just kind of mucks together. And then you have this topper shade, which I love a topper shade, but the sparkles aren't big enough and it's just not there for me. It's not that I don't think the quality of these eyeshadows are good, because I do. I felt like when I put them on that they held up and they held their own and they went on. They're pretty pigmented shadows, which I was actually kind of surprised by. Normally my experience with luxury eyeshadows is that they're not as pigmented and then you kind of build them up to be this beautiful whatever shade it is. But these ones were really pigmented on impact, but they still blended really well. The thing is, I just don't think that this colorway in particular has the diversity in tone that it needs to kind of succeed. I did like wearing this shade down here as a one and done, but I'm not keeping this palette for one and done shade. I would have much rather had it be a palette where I could also construct looks, but they just always turned out so mucky, and it just didn't give me the fantasy that I wanted. And as I have said many times, on my eyes today, this is the Isabella palette. I just threw on a glittery shade, one and done, and then I just, I threw on another shade just to add a little bit of something, but that palette's great because I can construct larger, more complex looks with it without it turning into just complete mucky mess, and that's all that this provided to me. Maybe in the future, I might buy one of the Dior single shadows. That doesn't sound like something I would do, but if there was one that was special enough, then maybe I would buy that as opposed to having a whole palette worth, because this just didn't cut it for me. It didn't do it for me. Next up, I would like to talk about the Kjaer Weis blush in the shade Inner Glow. Now, I have said this before on my channel. Many of my subscribers recommended this to me whenever I was on the hunt for this evasive shade of a pink blush that's really dead with a lot of gray in it, but wasn't a contour. And this was one of the ones that was recommended to me. I also tried the shade Mimi from Atelier, which is a gorgeous shade, and online it looks like it's going to be that dead pink color, but this is actually really serving that to me. What's really great about this is it's just so pretty. It's on my center finger. It's this unassuming undertone, and if you have my skin tone, it's really nude, but then when the light hits it, there's a silver sheen that pops out, and it gives you the appearance of that dead look almost, but somehow still bringing life. I have it on my cheek today. It has this beautiful, healthy, it's called Inner Glow, but it's a beautiful, healthy glow to it. It just looks really stunning on the cheeks. And I haven't been able to set this blush down. I think since it has come into my life, I don't think I have done a look without it. And if I have, I can't remember what that was because I've just been so excited about it. The heavier packaging that I opted in for, you can get this in cardboard packaging, and also you can just buy the refill. This like really adds to it to me. It's very pleasant. It slides open. It's real slick. I hope you can hear that, the metal clacking, and then so satisfying. It does last on the skin all day, and it does set down, so it doesn't remain tacky throughout the day. While I think that some of the moves that Kjaer Weis makes are strange, like partnering with Poosh or whatever the Kardashian like goop brand is, that was weird to me. I didn't really care for that, and that happened like right before I bought this. I don't know. It felt weird to me. So I feel like weird about the brand, but this is like a really beautiful blush. And I would say if you are someone who just kind of like makes your own pro palette of blushes, and if you have like a cream version, I would just buy the pan. I wouldn't buy all of this. I have been on the neutral blush train, and I'm like really into it. I've really been enjoying it. I love this one. I'm gonna pull out Mimi too. These shades that have like this, you know, like my skin color base to them on my skin. Obviously, you would have to find like your own version of this in your skin tone. I've just been loving them because they can go with any look. And I think that I really didn't see the value in like a blush that almost sometimes feels like it's not there, because it is there. It's just adding like a hint of something to like bring your skin to life, as opposed to being pink or as opposed to being lavender or red or orange. And not to say that there aren't some of those other blush shades that I really enjoy, because there are, because I really like orange blush, but orange blush doesn't go with everything. But orange blush was like the only color of blush that I ever really wanted to wear for a really long time. So it forced me to do a lot more warmer looks, and like, cause the blush just wouldn't go with everything. And now I have these blushes that I can wear both of these with a cool tone look or a warm tone look or a neutral look. And they are just really, really stunning either way. They have added like an unimaginable amount of value, but Inner Glow is really, really pretty. If you've been looking for it, if you like think that it's something that you want, I would say that it's worth trying on any level, whether you do the cardboard, this packaging, which I find satisfying, or if you're just buying the Pro Pan and you put it in a magnetic palette. I think that you would enjoy it. There's a trend alert. Now let's move into some things that I am getting rid of. And I recently did a video where I talked about these a little bit more in depth and like my relationship to these items, but I think I've grown up enough to say goodbye to them. And we're just gonna do that right now. The Diamond and Blush palette from Natasha Denona. It has to go. It's too big, and the place where I was keeping all of my face palettes, this was like one of the last things rumbling around in that space. And you know, I think it's time to free up that space. I just don't think I need the face palettes that aren't fitting in my drawer. These aren't the shades that I like. The only thing that I would miss is this, but you know what? You know what I reach for every time over that shade that kind of does the same thing? Is the Fenty Diamond Bomb. And I'm happy with that. And I pull this out all the time to add to looks, but I never pull this out. Perhaps if I could depot these, I would, and that would be like a different story, but they're not magnetic. It's not the traditional Natasha Denona, these are removable, move them around kind of situation. So you have to kind of use them as they are in here. And yeah, that's really pretty. It does give you just like that wet look sheen, which is like a thing that a lot of us are looking for in our eyeshadow toppers or our highlight toppers. I never use this, and I am going to pass on to a friend that hopefully will get more use out of it. But the size of this is like actually the biggest problem with it. I didn't need to be this big, and I just prefer the face palettes that Natasha has released more recently, like in the quad format. I think that this was like a start to something, and it wasn't the most well thought out thing. I bought it on sale. I bought it on like super sale. So it's okay. I don't feel like I wasted like my money on it. I'm glad I got to try it. That's where the gratitude ends. It just like didn't serve me as much as I needed it to. The next thing I'm decluttering is the Natasha Denona, another face palette, the Tan Bronze and Glow palette. The thing is, this bronzer is too deep for me. And while I can make it work, I am finding the less fussy things are for me, the better. And I understand that like that should be the case, but sometimes there are products that I try that you kind of have to do a lot to that I feel that are worth the payoff, but this is not one of those things. I think that this was onto something. This was onto something, and when I first got it, it was like adding something that my collection didn't have. When I bought this, I was much more of someone who wore like matte foundations, just a lot of matte stuff, matte blushes if I was wearing any matte bronzers. So this definitely like added something to my skin when I would use it. However, at this point, I'm wearing glowy foundations all the time. That's just like the kind of foundations that I like. Not only that, I've been using the Auric Glow Lust almost every time I put on foundation mixed in with the foundation or as the highlighter on top of the foundation. It's like something that is regularly in it. So my skin is glossy already and already glowy. And even when I put matte products on top of it, I still have this healthy sheen to my skin, which is like, I think that this was providing me that, but now I don't need the extra help. That's just how I do my makeup now. So this just doesn't serve me as it once did. And not that it really served me that well at all. I very rarely pulled it out because the bronzer was too strong for my fair skin. I just think that this was just like not the perfect product for me, but it was fun to play around with for a while. So again, the product served me for a while and I was happy to have it and really happy to try it. But I think that someone else could get a better use out of this than me. Thinking someone who has tan skin tone, I think that they would really, really enjoy this or get to wear it every day, whereas like I wasn't putting in the fuss to wear it every day. And it might be less fussy for them because it would just work with their skin tone. And then I just don't need it. And then I have one final thing that's leaving my collection, but this is more of an empty. This is the eye primer from Atelier. There's no product coming out of it anymore. I like am scraping the sides with the spatula that's in there. It's still giving me a little bit of product, but it's not even that it's like not performing as well. I can just like tell our days are numbered. And before it completely dries out and I can't use it, I have already replaced this with something, but I'm going to talk about that in my budget video for October, which I guess was like the month that just happened. Because it's Halloween, as you see this. So happy Halloween to any of those of you who celebrate. This was supposed to be like a fun, ooky spooky video, but it just didn't turn out. So maybe later on in the week or next week, I will have that video. But I do have some fun videos planned. It was just my energy level for what is required of those videos like wasn't there today. But there's a couple of things that I like haven't really shared my opinion on. And of course, this wasn't in the most in-depth review of any of those things, but everything I talked about today has been out for some time. So I also feel like a lot of those, maybe we don't need a full review. Now, I still love reviewing old foundations, and every now and then I like to review like an old palette, but I didn't think that you needed 45 minutes on this. All you need to know is that it was muddy, the tones aren't really great, and that's that. So I think that's all I have for you today. Sorry for it being like short and abrupt, but I basically slept most of today and I just didn't want to be like editing for the rest of my weekend. So I wanted to keep it easy breezy on both of us. But later on in the week, I have some juicy content coming your way, which I can't wait for you to see. I have another Becoming coming your way, which was supposed to be today. It was supposed to be one thing, but it'll be a different Becoming than the Becoming I had planned because now my Becoming that I had planned makes no sense. We work things out. We work through it. I appreciate you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, I would love to have you subscribe. Make sure you like this video before you head out, and I'm on Patreon again if you would like to support me there, but no pressure. I'm just so happy that you are here. And remember to follow your haute. And you'll find me. I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye. Friends.